Hey Thomas, Adam here. This is the technical portion of your plan. So when you get the email, you'll have a summarized version of this in the email. You'll also find attached some drill books for long game and short game with some worksheets as well, and there'll be a schedule in there. And your schedule will split up into off season, pre season, and in tournament. So it's just doing different types of practice during different phases of the season. So in off season, you might want to spend more time doing more movement work. Whereas in season, especially pre-tournament, you want to do things like simulating playing. So on the range, hitting shots, changing clubs, hitting different targets, playing, points games, things like that. But that's not to say you can't continue to work on your technical stuff in season as well. Even, well, not pre-tournament, I wouldn't do it then, but during the season, you can kind of push it forward in the net as well. Some things tend to not translate for many people when they go from the net to real life. There's a very brain-centric reason for that as well, how our brain encodes information. So when you're practicing in a net, you're very focused on the movement. And then when we get out into the real world, there's a flag there and a target, and our brain is wired differently for that visual stimulus. So it's not that it can't translate, it's just, if you're doing a lot of work in the net, it might not fully translate, or it might be slower to translate. So just be patient with yourself is all I would say. But some people have very good control of their attention, and they can control their body movements as well, and so then it transfers quite highly. But the plan, just a couple of things. The most important things are technical work, which I'm going to dominate this video with. So whenever your plan says technical training, you'll focus on that. Now, experimental work and calibration work. This is the skill-based stuff. This is the stuff I'm famous for, really, or the stuff that I try and push more. And so some examples of feel-based work. So say you've got your target down the line there. Now, you want to spend some time, and maybe this will be time dedicated when you're on the range because you need to see ball flight for this, but spend some time hitting right intentionally. So swing the club back and present the face open. So rehearse it over and over, and then hit the shot feeling as if the face is open, and hit it to the right, and then spend some time hitting shots to the left as well. But don't just do it any old amount. Don't just whack it way right or way left. Do it with the finger system. So you might want to hit 4 fingers right, and then spend 5 shots doing that. Then 4 fingers left, spend 5 shots doing that. You might want to do a more extreme version, maybe 6 fingers right, then 6 fingers left. And you want to fill in the gaps as well, 2 fingers right and 2 fingers left. So basically, you're training yourself to be able to manipulate's a bad word, but control the club face. And we gain control by understanding what right and left feels like. So if you can precisely train your brain to understand what 6 right feels like and 2 left feels like, you almost have this like gear system. Sorry, I'm saying like too much. It's my wife's Californian. She's rubbing off on me. You have this gear system in your brain, which you can then bring about if, for example, you are hitting left one day. Well, in order to neutralize that, you start to feel the right shots. So, for example, when it comes to calibrating, hitting your desired shot, well, you might hit a shot and it goes a little left, like that, say 2 fingers left. So you say, right, the next one I'm going to feel 2 fingers right. And you see what the outcome is. If it's neutral, if the ball comes out exactly how you want, then you say, okay, right, I'm going to feel 2 fingers right to produce that neutral shot. If it's still left, then you might go up to 4 fingers right or even 6 fingers right as a feeling. So we've got experimental is exploring left and right, calibration's going for the center, but maybe utilizing a feel that doesn't feel like center. Similarly, you can do face contact. Let me just find where is it? So face contact drills, as a very basic level, I would start with, spraying the club face with Dr. Scholl's foot spray, something like that. drawing a line down the center, either just imaginary, you don't actually have to do it, but then hit 10 shots trying to hit the toe side of the club and see how you do, record it. Then do 10 shots hitting the heel side of the club, see which one you're better at. Whichever one you're worse at, whichever one you have a lower score with, that's the one you're going to practice a bit more. And as you get really good at that, you want to start to bring in the boundaries a little bit. So your toe and your heel will now be just on the grooved part of the face. And then when you get really good at it, and I've got players who are easily at this level, you can go middle, heel, and toe, and each one of those can be like a finger width or something like that. So, I mean, once you get to that point, you're going to be really good at this game. You're going to be really good at that, and that should be enough. But yeah, just experimenting is, like I said, exploring toe and heel, left and right, and calibrating is going for the middle ground. So, technique-wise, let's get onto the movement. So this video is more towards the movement part. Now, what we want to develop, every single golfer needs to develop tools to be able to influence the three biggest impact factors. Now, the three biggest impact factors are hitting the ground in the right place. So if you don't do that correctly, it's a toe or a thin or a fat. Hitting the center of the face, so if you don't do that correctly, it's a toe or a heel. And then controlling the club face. If you don't do that, the ball's going to go too far left or right. Now we could look at path as well, but really path just changes the shape of shot. It doesn't control whether the ball goes on our target or not. But, you know, we could look at path as well as a fourth subcategory. So we want, for each one of those three big impact factors, we want a tool that's going to be able to influence it. Now this could just be a feel-based tool. So for example, if I'm missing it left, I'm just going to feel an open face through impact. And, you know, I've practiced that with my left and right drill. Or you could use a more mechanical approach as well. You could focus on something in the body, maybe the wrist positions or something like that to influence it. So this is going to be more about the technical or the body parts. So what do I see in your swing? Good looking setup. Your takeaway, yes, I agree, it's inside. We could look at that. Normally, for many people, I wouldn't care about that too much. But for you, it influences the downswing. So you might want to look at that a little bit. But it's not horrendous. There are players who've been there before and played great golf. You know, you look at Bobby Jones, Sam Snead, guys like that. They used to take it way inside. It's only until kind of Ledbetter's era that everybody was talking about take it on plane. You know, it's just a lot of it's just man-made stuff, really. As you swing back to the top, you know, it gets into a really good position at the top. Looks great from here. What you do, you have you have a lot of slide with not much rotation. So I actually try and get most of the golfers I see as slicers, and I try to get them to do your movements. It's almost as if your butt, the tailbone stays pointing at the target as you slide it towards the target. Now, as I said, it's a great move for amateurs who slice it, but for you, it's causing you to come too much from the inside. And so I'd want you to be much more rotary, much more open by this point. So that's going to be a big part of this, training you to be more open. Partly because that's going to neutralize your swing path. But the other thing is that's also going to help you hit the ground farther forwards as well. So you'll suffer fewer fat shots if that's an issue for you. Because at impact there, you know, your chest is very closed, pointing to the right. Your hips are not open at all. You know, let me give you an extreme example. Now, every single tour player is open at impact. This has been a measured fact. Look how open. Furyk is the most, but look how open he is. His chest, I believe, is about 35 degrees open at impact. But most pros fall between about 15 to 35 degrees, something like that. I think Ricky Fowler was the least open. And so we just want to get in that range. At the moment you're closed, we just want to get a little bit more open because it does certain things to the hand path, and there's lots of good benefits to it that would take a lifetime to explain, but you have to trust me on that. There's a reason why all pros do it. So yeah, I'd want to get you more open at impact. I'll give you all the drills in a moment. You know, as a result of your body being so close to impact, your hands actually work out away from your body. So if I draw a line here to show the boundary of your hands, I do the same for like Furyk. And you can see your hands actually work out away from your body. They get farther from your body. At impact here, they get farther from your body. With every pro, they actually move left. They work left through impact. And there's geometrical reasons why that can produce more consistency as well. So body rotation is going to aid that, definitely. And one of the other reasons why your hands, your ball goes to the left, or you can suffer with pull hooks, is just the club face is going to be too closed at impact, basically. And there's a lot of hand rotation there. Tends to be that when players have closed chests, that creates a lot of hand rotation and then a lot of club face rotation as a result of it. Whereas you look at like a Furyk, you can see much less club face rotation. His club face is almost still looking at the target there. That tends to go hand in hand with a more opening body position. So that's where I would see your swing going. So what drills can we do? I'm going to try and relate these to specific faults. So the first one would be, let's have a look here. Pre-impact, opening, rotation at impact. Okay, so this is looking at face, so I'm hitting into the camera here. So what I would want you to practice is swing back and down and just rehearse from here to impact. So just over and over from here to impact. Just keep rehearsing kind of belt high into impact, and look how open my chest is. Feel as if that chest faces the target at impact. You'll have more bend in the right arm. And yeah, just rehearse it over and over like this. So you can do little shots, just keep opening up that chest. Feel as if your chest is facing the target, your belt buckle is facing the target here. And then once you get a feel for that and just rehearse it over and over, you can see, look, so you're going to swing back, swing down, get into that impact position, and then you're just going to do loads of mini rehearsals around it. So just keep doing full swings and then rehearsing that impact position. Doing lots of mini rehearsals from here to here, there to there. Just to really get your brain to say, this is where I want to be at impact. And then when you get to the ball, you can actually hit shots with this as well. It won't feel comfortable, but really exaggerate it. Swing back and down and look at that body position there compared to yours at impact. So there's going to be a few things that'll be necessary. You'll need to be a little bit more squatted as well. So you can see my butt is back a little bit and my chest is more over it. So more squatted. And you can even see that, I think here, yeah, you can see as I swing back, watch the squat. So I squat down, then open up. So it's kind of a double move really. Swing back, squat, open up. Squat and rotate. You won't be able to rotate much unless you have some squat there. So that's number one. And as I said, you can hit balls. So once you've paused in that position, held the feeling, done all your rehearsals, your mini rehearsals, then swing back from that position and hit a shot. And it can just be a little punch out there. But over time that you start hitting balls and you just start to get a sense for, let's get back into that more open position at impact. Now that's going to, hopefully, if you do it right, it's going to allow your hands to work more left through impact. So let's see this. You can see the hands work left. So from here, my hands start to work in because that body is rotating and opening. So if I put a border on the hands there, you can see them work left. And you'll also, in your own analysis, you'll be able to see where does the club exit. So yours exits through your head at the moment. Every single pro will exit below the shoulder. So around about mid body is what we're looking at. The more you open up, the more that exit will be lower. So that's something that you can look out for. Really rip the body open. So that is drill number one. As you're doing that, you can kind of add on the feeling of, so as I go through impact and just post impact here, get the feeling for the club face pointing at the target or even being open. And it'll be easier, once your body's more open, it's easier to keep the face open as well. But even go as far as to get to the post impact here and hold it here. In fact, I've got a different version. Let me just find it a second. Hand path. left. Okay, so this might be a better one. So this you're just practicing over and over, body rotating open, while the club face stays looking at the target. By this point, yours will have rotated over. So if you're ever missing to the left, focus a lot on this. So it'll feel like the back of the left hand or palm of the right hand will face the target as well. So just keep rehearsing, getting into that post-impact slot. And you can rehearse it over a golf ball here. You can see my hands are working left. Club face is staying open. Chest is opening up. So hand path will follow the body opening, or should. And again, after a few rehearsals like that, 3, and then you hit the shot. And you can just rehearse the face being more open if you need it more open, more closed or less open, and your body swinging, opening more left as well. Now, generally, what I would say is if you're hitting fat shots, then you want to focus on being more open, because that is going to move the ground contact forward. So if fat shots, then more open. If you're hitting thin shots, focus on that little squatting motion in transition. So squat first, then open. And so that's a way of fixing thin contact. So squatting more will result in deeper divots, or is a good fix for thins. And if you're hitting it left, then focus more on the rotation of the club face here. So focus on the exit part of the club face. So there's it's the same drill really, but we can focus on different portions of it depending on what we're trying to influence the most to impact. Now, what about the toe shot? So we fixed that fat shots, we've got something for thin shots, we've got something for left shots, and I suppose by default we got something for right misses. Just do the left fix less if you're missing it to the right. Allow the forearms to cross over more if you're missing it to the right. We need something for the toe shot though. Now the reason why you have a toe contact is because if I draw a line on your head here and here, as you swing back, you can see you've effectively moved farther away from the ball. So your head has moved up and back away from it. And so you have a nice athletic squat in transition, but you're effectively look at impact where you are. And so that can create some of the toe contacts there. Now, luckily for you, being closed actually creates more of a heel contact. So your set of matchups or your combination has been close the chest and stand up tall and back up out of it. And that can work. That can actually hit the center of the shot, but we need to work in some better matchups. So for you, if you are opening the chest, should move the pattern more towards the toe. However, if that's a horrible thing for you, as it sounds like it has been, you might want to focus, if you start toeing it a lot, you might want to focus on just the backswing portion of staying on the wall. So what I mean by that is imagine a wall here and your head is up against it. You can actually do this drill. You can't do it with a club, but you can get your head up against the wall. You might want to put a little cushion there. So you got your wall here, and then you'll have a thin little cushion so it doesn't hurt yourself. And then as you swing back, feel as if you compress that cushion. So as you swing back, actually feel as if you press that cushion down and forwards. So that's the motion. You'll feel much more on top of it. That's covering it is a phrase that we use. So that's the backswing drill if you want to focus on that. That should help with toe contacts, as I said. And if you start hitting too many heel contacts, do that less or open up more. Opening up is a great fix for fat shots and for heel shots. Again, I'll put this algorithmically in your email for you. As a side note, I know you mentioned your takeaway here. As a side note, something you can do as you're doing the wall drill here is, well, you can just, once you've done that for body, you can also get the club head against the wall here, and just for the first part of it, feels if you slide up against the wall until about here. So it really feels if you almost take the club on the outside. Or another version of that you can do. Let me just find something here. Let me just find a better visual. So if you are looking at the ground, So this is a golfer's perspective here, and you can see the ball. When you take the club away, place an object like a head cover maybe, or another ball, or a tall tee, something like that, and place it directly behind the ball, so on the ball to target line like that, or even slightly outside of it, so even in the red zone here. And as you swing back, just feel as if as you swing back, feel as if the club head hits that. At the moment you're swinging to inside like that, you're probably even more inside like that than that. So feel as if as you swing back, as you get to about here, your club head is more in the yellow space. So you could rehearse that as a backswing, head against the wall or head pushing into the cushion, and hands or club working out over that yellow tee. That could be one feeling in the takeaway, and that's going to help neutralize some of the swing path. I wouldn't obsess over the takeaway though. I think if you get the head motion better, that should clean itself up a little. And I've seen when people get themselves more open at impact, it actually starts to clean up a lot of the backswing motion as well. So that's the thing that I would prioritize really. So let's have a look at the driver. Now your motion actually suits a driver, being more inside and doing that way. So actually doing that with the driver, I wouldn't practice being more open with the driver. I'd be okay with how you're doing it with the driver there from face on. Let's get from down the line with your driver. With your face on, good ball position, I would say just stay more behind it. So what I mean by that is you got a lot of slide, which is good for your irons, but you being, let me do this here. Let me draw a line up from your ankle. At impact, you got too much of your body ahead of that line. Now let me show you a golfer who hits up on it significantly. Has a good drive of the ball. This is Justin Thomas. Let me put a line out from his left ankle and show you where he is at impact. He is a long way behind that line, so he's got a good 6, 7, 8 inches of clearance between his shoulder and that line. So some of that you can do from setup. Get a wider stance, put a little bit more weight on the back foot. And the other part is just rehearsing the motion from, say, here to here, staying more behind it. So that would look like, let me just find it here, ground contact, weight position. So that's with an iron, being really forwards. And with a driver, this is what you want to feel. I don't have a driver in my hand, but you want to feel like you're backed up away from that wall and just rehearse staying behind that wall. I moved for some reason, so staying behind that wall, just rehearse it over and over and then hit a few shots with that feeling. So yeah, that's the change I would make with the driver really. So you've got technical stuff to work on, you've got skill-based stuff to work on, and then in the plan there's all the other stuff for performance training, transference training, all the other drills as well. Try and get a good mix of it. I'd limit your technique sessions mainly to the net. Yeah, I'd limit it mainly to the net, and when you get chance to see ball flight on a range, then stick to more experimental or calibration drills, things like that. You can do some experimental drills in the net with strike quality, because you don't need to see ball flight for that. So you can do the toe and heel, fat and thins, things like that in your net. But yeah, just try and get a nice balanced plan. Try and follow the schedule that I put for you.